Hey everybody, and welcome to Archery 101, another episode of Fact or Fiction. Now I really enjoy these because I'm a very inquisitive person. Now you can tell me something, and I'm always going to wonder, is that true? Not true. Does that make sense? You know, it's just how I am. It's sort of like I must have OCD or something, right? So what I've been hearing for a long time, and I've been curious about and just really dragged my feet on doing, is left wing versus right wing, right? Now, we're not talking politics, because I hate politics, you know, this and that, they can't even get along. And it's sort of the same way in archery, because left wing doesn't get along with the right wing feather, they claim. Alright, so what this video is going to do is we're going to take some of the most common conceptions, myths, superstitions, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to test them real quick. Alright, you know, in archery, especially traditional archery, there's a lot of myths or superstitions. And a lot of them come from somebody saying it, or putting it online, next guy reads it and goes down, and all of a sudden it becomes fact. Did anybody bother to really test it, or are you just taking the guy's word for it? I'm going to test it for you. And one of them is the left wing, right wing. And I've been watching it for a while, reading it for a while. I've been taking notes, so I've been working on this, trying to find different ones. So here are some of the things that I found people claim with a left and right wing. The first thing they claim is that they actually spin differently. Now it's said that a left wing feather spins counterclockwise, and that a right wing feather spins clockwise. Now, nobody in any of these online forums that I've seen that wrote that mentioned the word helical. So I'm going to make mine straight. I pretty much would assume a helical would do that. But does it do it for a straight feather? All right, we're going to look at that. Then the next one they say is when you use a right wing feather, the tips come loose due to the rotation in the air. That just doesn't make sense to me, unless your tip's loose. And also, in my opinion, all you got to do is put some string wax on it, tighten it in there, problem solved. So we'll test that also. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some heads on right wing feathers. I'm not going to put any lube on them. I'll tighten them up, shoot them a whole bunch of times, and we'll see whether or not they come out. Now, we'll do that when I test. I'll talk about that when I test, because I got some ideas on that, which we'll cover later. All right. We also heard that they don't work well. That they are needed for single beveled broadheads. It's important which wing you use for a single beveled broadhead, which is really interesting to me, and I don't think I have any, so I may not be able to test that one, but that one did pique my interest big time. And the other one is if you're shooting a self bow, the quill will go under your hand, or if you're shooting a bow with your hands right on the edge of the shelf, that the feather, the quill, can go under your hand. I think we can test that one too. And then finally they say the arrow should always spin away from the riser. Now that one I already pretty much have a preconception on, but we're going to see if the arrow is actually spinning before it leaves the riser. Alright, I've been told that arrows do not start to spin until they're past the riser, totally released, so that myth should be busted. So we're going to test them. We're going to test them a bunch of different ways. And I'm going to do some generic tests too. One, let's see if there's a difference, right? I'm going to shoot an archery end with each. Left wing and right wing, three arrows each. We'll see if there's much difference in the score. Then I'm going to mix the arrows up and shoot some ends like that and see if we can tell a difference between them. And then finally I'm going to chronograph them. Now I know the chonographing is tough because I am not that consistent that I keep getting the same speeds. But we'll see if I can find any measurable difference between the two. Then I'm going to use a bunch of cameras and I'm going to really see if they can spin differently. Right? I'm going to zoom in on them. I'm going to use high speed. Well, okay, slow motion. I don't have a high speed camera. And we're going to see if I can actually find the spin in the air to see if they actually spin like they claim they do. And then I'm going to test the points, see if they come loose. I'm going to see if the quill sticks in your hand. We're going to see if the arrow actually spins before it leaves the riser, and if I can get the broadhead a single beveled in time, we're going to see if that actually makes any difference in the flight. Alright, this should be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to this because I want to know the answers myself. Alright, left and right wing. Now before we go to the testing, some of you are saying, well, you know, you talked all that crap, Greg, but what is a left and right wing feather? Well, it's simple. We'll put this, straighten it out for you. There you go. See that edge? That bevel, there you go. See that? That is a left wing feather. Because me holding it and looking at it, this edge goes to the left. This is a right wing feather. If I hold the back of the feather facing me, the edge goes to the right. Alright? So if you had the two, you can put them back to back and they fit perfectly. Just like that. Left wing, right wing. Alright, there's your difference. The left, right wing feathers. That is the difference. Alright, so first up, which I'm not going to show you, I got to build some arrows. Then we're going to take them to the range and test them. Alright, left versus right wing. This should be good. Alright everybody, the first test is there a difference? I don't know. I'm going to shoot 3 ends. Left wing, right wing, alternating back forth. And then I'm going to shoot 3 ends with them mixed to see if I can find any difference. Alright? Left wings have white nocks. Right wings have orange nocks. Alright, let's give it a try. Bad shot. All right. Right wings. First time I've shot these. Tell you right now, no difference in flight. None whatsoever. All right, I'm going to go down score, and I'm just going to repeat this. I'm not going to show you every single end. One of the other myths we wanted to test was they claim right wing points come off or come loose because of how their rotation. Now I fired these 6 different ends. So fired each arrow at least 6 times so far. Going to do a few more rounds just with these, and all I'm going to do is check the heads. Now I've been checking the heads so far. Nothing. I used nothing on them. I glued in the insert the other night. Brand new points. Screwed them in. Hand tight. Nothing else. All right. So let's take some shots and just let's check the heads. Horrible shot. Horrible. Didn't get my back engaged. So don't shoot like that. Too much back. Alright, I'm firing them. Nothing. 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 They're tight. Alright, so let's go outside and we'll shoot some animals, 3D, and we'll see if they come loose there. But shooting into this foam here hasn't affected it at all. That myth is not looking good. Alright, the next test, whether the quill sticks in the hand or not, I can't really do it because I don't have a long bow and I don't have a bow with my hand can get right up next to it. So I'm going to take my bow, put a glove on, I'm going to shoot some arrows. Horrible shot, so don't mind them. And I'm going to use the high speed to see if it shows anything. We'll say it affects the flight. It doesn't. No, it's just a bad shot. All right, left wings. One right wing, one left. And last one. All right, I'm not going to do any more. No quills. I didn't feel nothing stick in my hand. I do put a dab of glue on the end of the quill, so that could be the reason. I'll go back, look at the high speed, then I'll have a better idea what's going on. All right, everybody, and welcome back. All right, did all my tests. Now, I have to say, I did not do the broadhead test because I couldn't find any single beveled broadheads for my arrows, and I didn't have a whole lot of free time to do it, but that might be another one I'm going to look up another day. All right, I had to say I learned a lot on this video because I really never cared about left wing, right wing stuff or anything like that. I just never paid attention to it, you know, and I found the biggest thing I found is although the statements they made are true, they're only true in a very narrow definition or a set of circumstances. It's not applicable across the board. All right? So let's get down to it. Let's look at each test. The first test, was there a difference in flight? Fiction. Boom, none. You seen my shooting the 300 rounds. I had a 1-point difference between left wing and right wing, 20 yards at a standard NFA target, right? And in the mixed rounds, I scored almost the exact score back and forth. So I found no performance differences between a left and right wing. Now, that's shooting left-handed. Even on my right-handed bow, I don't expect to see any difference. All right? And then the next one we're going to look at is people always said the arrow should spin away from the riser. Well, fiction. Totally fiction. There is no basis for that. In my test, you can see in the video, the arrow did not start to spin until after it cleared the riser. So you don't have to worry about that at all. Now, I did some researching online. I wrote some famous bowyers, arrow companies, you know, experts and all the others. And they all confirmed that the arrow does not start to rotate until it passes the riser. So don't even worry about getting an arrow that rotates away from your riser. It is not important, all right, because it doesn't even start to rotate until after it leaves the riser. All right, the big one. Does a left wing and a right wing feather spin differently? Well, fiction. Now, with that said, people go, oh, you're a fool. In my test, you see it, they both spun in the same direction. Now, I used a straight clamp. So how could this happen? I kept asking myself. Well, once again, I did some more research. I called the arrow companies, the feather companies, and I didn't call just one, I called several of them. I talked to the salespeople, and, which I love about GoTip, they put me in touch with engineers, right? And what they found is they said it's not the feathers so much, but it's if you have a helical or on your clamp, any offset. You know, to my eye, I set it to my eye and it was straight. But he said it could be off by 1 degree, maybe 2 degrees, something that's really, you know, you can't perceive. And he goes, it's enough to influence the arrow to spin. So I took both of mine spun clockwise. So I took both of them, made them spin clockwise, and look at the accuracy that I achieved. So does it make it spin one way? No, if you have them both straight. But if you're using helicals, yeah, they're going to spin different directions. All right? So that sort of tricked me. So when people say they spin differently, you got to take that with a grain of salt. All right? The biggest factor in spin is the offset of the fletching. Whether it's a helical or instead of being straight, it's slightly cocked in or out. All right? So I'm calling this one fiction. All right? Even though it's true for a helical. I have to say, pretty much this one's pretty much shot. I'm never going to worry about it again. All right, our next one up, which a lot of people say is right wing feathers loosen the field points or your heads on your arrows. Well, fiction, all right? I know they're saying it's the snap and the boom, that initial rotation that, you know, turns it and loosens it up. You know, I shot these throughout the day and never had a point come loose. I shot them into the foam backings, the multiple layered ones. I shot them into 3D animals. I shot them into solid foam. I shot them into all different things, and none of my points came loose. Now, I will have to say what I think it is when you pull them out, a lot of people grab them and they twist. So the point's being stuck, the shaft turns, and that could be what's loosening up. Now, the other thing you got to know, just look. This whole thing's moot. All you got to do is put some string wax on the threads and they ain't coming loose, all right? Once I do that, I never adjust my points anymore. It's the nicest thing. So this one here is, you know, if you want to argue about it, feel free. But to me, just put string wax on it and it's totally done. All right, and the last one I looked at was, is it important to use the correct feather so that when shooting a bow with no shelf, or with your hand next to the shelf, that the quill will stick into your hand. Well, I know this one everybody's going to argue, but it was fiction in my test, because I had my hand actually going over top of my shelf. I shot left and right hand feathers in a glove with, it wasn't a solid material, it was a very loose. I gave it the best material for it to stick in, and I couldn't get the quill to stick into my hand. Right? Now I understand that this can happen under several scenarios. So again, take it with a grain of salt. Right? But here's the thing. On my tips of my quill, I put a dab of super glue on it so it doesn't peel off. Again, little common sense things to fix it. If you're using, if you're not using that, you're doing it the historical way or whatever you want to call it, with the string on it, just wrap some string around the end. But if you're shooting a bow with a shelf, I would not worry about using the left or right wing so the quill hits your hand. I couldn't duplicate it. I couldn't make it to happen. And I shot a bunch of arrows that way throughout the day. So I'm not worried about it at all. Alright, boys and girls, so what does all this testing come down to? Pretty much tells me it's something that I don't have to really worry about. I'm going to shoot left wing or I'm going to shoot right wing. Now, I didn't do the one where people says you don't put, you got 3 feathers, you do 1 left wing, 2 right wings. Again, I really don't think that's going to make a difference if you fletch them straight. If you fletch them helical, then it might make a difference, alright? But I normally just buy left wing feathers, just for whatever reason, alright? And now I got the right wings, and I went out past weekend at Costco, and I had them mixed and noticed no difference all day. So for performance-wise, for me, what I do, shooting them 30 yards, and I shot out at 50 yards and 70 yards all day at Costco and had no problems. I think it's pretty much nothing to worry about. Alright, so if you're thinking about it, there's some basic answers for you. Alright, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll give you some food for thought. You don't agree with me? Hey, that's life. Alright, you believe what you want, I'll believe what I want. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with an all-new episode of Archery 101.